Hey guys, and welcome to the first part of this video series. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how to properly paint your brake calipers using VHT caliper paint. Now, if you guys remember a while ago, I showed you kind of how to do this exact same process. But the difference is I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what I did before. Back then, all I did was I cleaned up the calipers to bare metal and sprayed the paint right on it. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different to make it more durable, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different that's going to make it look a lot nicer. So let's get right into it. So right here I've got a set of 4 piston brake calipers that came off of an Acura RL, and these are a lot bigger than the 1 piston brakes that are found on my Accord. Now I'm going to be cleaning these up, painting them, and making them look a lot better. But with that being said, I've got to disassemble the brakes in order to get access to everything and make sure that it's painted up properly. So on this caliper over here, I've got it disassembled, and I've got this somewhat ready to be painted. I've got the brake pads, I've got the pins right here, along with the little spring clip. I've got the other brake pad, and this retaining clip here. We've got all of these removed for this fixed caliper brake setup. So I picked up these brakes used, and that's why they're kind of in this condition. Now, it doesn't matter if you're working with new brakes or old brakes. The method to paint these brakes is very similar. So you want to disassemble it as much as you can beforehand. So on the back side of the caliper, you're going to have this little spring clip that you're going to need to remove. You're going to pull up on both of these sides, and this little clip should just move out of the way. Then you should be able to push these 2 slider pins outwards, or actually towards the front of the brake, and you should be able to just pull these out. Now, if they're difficult, kind of like this, if you don't really have that much leverage, if you grab a set of needle nose pliers, you can grab it and slide it out like it's nothing. So you're going to set that aside and do the same thing for this one. And when you do that, when you pull this second clip out, this top retaining piece is going to want to pop up. So if you push down on it, you'll relieve the pressure, and then you can pull this out as well. Now with those out of the way, you should be able to take your brake pads and remove them completely from the brakes. Now, these brakes have a little shim on the back side of it, and then, you know, most brakes are like that. You got to set both of these aside. So these brakes have a little bit of dirt on the inside, and I'm gonna have to clean those up. Now I'm gonna be cleaning the inside area and everything on the outside. Now, if you can see, these are casted brakes, and you can see that there's a couple lines on here. And these are made when they made these brakes. So if you want to remove any sharp edges, now is the time to do it. So once you clean everything up, you're not gonna have any hard lines. So if you want, you can remove this line here, you can remove that, this, and well, anything you really want. You can do the same thing for a fixed caliper like this as you can with a slider caliper like I have mounted on my Accord. Before I continue this process anymore, I'm going to clean up any dirt or anything that I've got around the caliper just to make my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to be using a can of brake clean, and I'm just going to spray this entire thing down. So to get the caliper ready for painting, we need to remove any dirt, imperfections, or even any hard lines on the caliper if you like. Now I'm going to be using a dremel tool along with some sandpaper and a wire brush to remove all the imperfections and at least clean up the caliper to make it look good. Now you don't have to remove any of the cast lines on the caliper, but I mean, it's completely up to you. So once you clean it up and sand it down, you're going to want to get it so that there's no dirt, no dust, no metal flakes or anything that are on the caliper. To get the caliper clean, you can do it any way you like. Now I'm going to be using some brake clean, a rag, and an air compressor to get it completely clean and ready for the priming step. Now before we start painting, you're going to have to mask up a couple areas that you don't want paint on. So one of them is going to be the bleeder screw. You're going to take the rubber boot off and cover it with tape. After that, you're then going to have to mask off both the boots and the actual pistons on both sides of the caliper. So because this is a 4-piston brake, you're going to have to cover up both pistons on each side. Now you can use just a regular roll of tape to cover it up and protect it from any paint. So we're first going to begin with a high heat primer, and this is going to be the foundation for all of the layers of paint that are going to be going on afterwards. So it doesn't really matter what color paint you use. It doesn't matter if you paint your calipers red, blue, green, or purple. You should always use primer in order to get the paint to last and stick properly to the brake caliper. So I'm going to get this, and before I use it, I'm going to stick it inside my bucket of hot water. I'm going to let it sit there, and I'm going to take it out afterwards when I need it. Next up is going to be your paint. So for the calipers that I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be painting them this color, and it's Real Red from VHT, and this caliper paint is designed, well, exactly for drum and rotors. It's chemical resistant and it's rated for 900 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is going to be perfect for what we're going to be needing today. Now I'm going to be using also VHT clear coat, and I'm going to get into that afterwards. I've got a little surprise for you. So use this too and stick that inside your bucket of hot water. I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes, take out the primer, and then spray our calipers down so we've got a nice layer of foundation. Now I've got my caliper ready to go. I took my paint out of the bucket and I dried it off. Now I already gave this thing a shake, but give it a nice shake. Make sure that the tape is applied properly to both the pistons inside and the rubber boots. And once you're ready at that point, you can start spraying the caliper down. Now after you've got the entire thing coated, you're gonna let this sit for a good 10 minutes, come back, and we're gonna hit this again with a second coat. Get your can, give it a shake, and then spray down your second coat of primer. Now for the second coat, you wanna try and get the areas you weren't able to hit for the first time. So, move the caliper around, try and get different angles, and after the second coat, we're physically gonna move the caliper so we can get different angles. So right now, just spray this down again and try and focus on the intricate areas you weren't able to hit the first time. Now again, we're gonna let this sit for 5-10 minutes, come back, and then spray it again. So for the third and final coat, we're gonna get the caliper, we're gonna spin it upside down, and we're gonna get all of this area here that we weren't able to spray before. So give your can another shake, do a test spray, and then go to town. Now we're finally onto our last coat of primer. So right now we've got the bottom side with 1 coat and the top side with 2. So we've got to finish this and seal it up with our last coat up here. Give the can a shake and start spraying. We're gonna then let this sit for 15 minutes, come back, and then we're gonna start spraying down our color coat. So with the primer dry, you should leave the caliper like this and then start spraying down your base coat. So for me, I'm gonna be using the red spray paint from VHT. You guys can use any color here. You can go yellow, black, white, silver, it doesn't matter. But at this stage, you should have the caliper completely primed. So get your can, give it a shake, and then spray down the entire bottom side of the caliper. So we're gonna let this sit, we're gonna come back in 10 minutes and spray down a second coat. So 10 minutes has elapsed, and now it's time for the second coat. So this is gonna be the last coat of the red paint with the caliper upside down. So after this, once this dries, we're gonna then flip it back over and then spray it down some more. All right, so with this now dry to the touch, you can then grab the caliper, spin it upside down, and as you can see, we missed a whole bunch on the top, but that's okay, that's why we're flipping it over. You're gonna let it sit back on there, and then we're gonna spray down 2 more coats of red on the top right here. So we're finally here for our last coat of the red. Now, just like before, shake the can up and do a once over the entire caliper. Now this next step is going to be 100% optional, but because I've got a 4-piston brake right here, you can see that you've got a big spot right in the front, and it's usually for text. Usually you'll see something like Brembo or Acura or anything else along those lines on the face of the caliper. And I'm actually going to be sticking some Brembo stickers on it. Now if you guys remember, I had some clear coat that was inside my bucket, and I'm not going to spray it on the caliper yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a sticker, and I'm gonna put it on the front face of this. And then after this sticker is on, only at that point am I gonna get the clear coat and then spray over the entire thing. Now I've got a set of black and white stickers. Now they're both Brembo, they're both the exact same size. And you can choose whichever one that you want to put on your car. You can put any kind of sticker. If you have a Cadillac CTS-V, for instance, you can put a V sticker there. If you have an M3, you can put an M badge on it. It doesn't really matter, but for me, I'm going to be putting a vinyl on it. And I'm going to be putting this white one on the caliper. Now, I'm going to first let this completely dry 100%, and then only at that point am I going to stick this on. Now, before you slap on either the white or the black vinyl, make sure that you orientate it the proper way on the car. So the car is going to be basically this way. So the caliper, when you install it on the car, it's going to be like this. So I'm going to try and show you how it's going to be like. You're going to have it like that. So it's just going to be twisted like this, and the caliper is going to be facing this way. Now, with that being said, you want the sticker and the text to be visible from this way, from down to up. So in my car, for instance, you're going to want the brembo sticker to be facing this way. It's going to look kind of weird if you have it facing that way, but I mean, it is completely up to you if you really wanted to. Hell, you could put it this way, that way, even on backwards if you like, you know, if you can manage that. But yeah, it's completely up to you. For me, I'm going to have it facing this way, so the center of the wheel. So once the caliper is dry, the way that you're going to use this sticker is like this. You're going to peel back the front part of it, and you're going to have to make sure that the text stays on the front piece. So, see how it's coming off like that? You're going to want to make sure that all of the text, there you go, all the text stays on there. And then at that point, make sure that it's aligned, it's centered, and as soon as you're ready, just push down on the caliper. So make sure that the entire thing, all the stickers, apply properly, and then find the corner. Try to be very gentle with this stuff because it's still soft. So find the corner, doesn't really matter which one, and then start peeling this back. Now it's very important that the caliper, like the paint that's on there, is dry, because if it's wet, when you peel this back, all of the paint is going to come with it. So be very careful and pull it back very gently. Now at this point, with the sticker on there, we're then going to grab our clear coat and seal this entire thing up. So we're now on to our last coat for the clear coat on the top of the caliper. Now after this, if you want, you can get the caliper and spin the entire thing 180 degrees. And then at that point, the entire thing is going to be done and over with. Now, once you're done that, you can then go ahead and mount the calipers back on your car. Now, I'm not going to be installing these quite yet on the car, only because I've got some other stuff to do. But in the meantime, that is how you paint them. You can take a look at this, and it looks sweet. I forgot to take off the little tape on the inside, but once I'm done with the clear coat, I will do exactly that. And look at how good that looks. Now in the next video, I'm going to show you how to install stainless steel brake lines on your car. Now I'm going to be installing stainless steel lines, both front and back on the Accord, and they're going to fit up perfectly with these calipers that I have right here, along with the ones that I have mounted on the car right now. So once I have those on, the big brake kit is going to be going on the car. But that's going to be in a future video. If you guys have any questions regarding this one, throw them down in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to help. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. These things are gonna look so nice behind my wheels. I'm so excited. If you guys are looking to make a little bit more contrast between the red and the white, if you want, you can take out each one of those bolts, the Torx bolts right there. You can sand them down, you can paint them black, you can paint them white, or even just leave them red. It's all up to you, but I don't know what I think of this. I think I might take them out and change them and put them a different color. Let me know what you guys think in the description box.